This video is going to be hard to make. But before I begin, I want to ask you to do something for me. I'm going to ask you guys for a huge favor. I'm going to ask you for two things. Before that, I want to talk about Julius Jones, this man right here on the screen. This pathetic, violent coward, Julius Jones, who is now the darling, who is now a new hero among the pedophile Hollywood elite. These disgusting creeps in Hollywood are claiming that Julius Jones is an innocent man, wrongly convicted of a crime he did not commit, and that he's on trial, that he's on death row because of the evil, wicked racism of America and because of their animus towards people who look like Julius Jones. It isn't because there's abundant evidence to suggest that Julius Jones did, in fact, without a shadow of a doubt, commit a violent crime. He murdered Paul Howell in cold blood in front of his two small children and his sister. While his children were very tiny, they were old enough to know that what happened was very scary, and they remember vividly their father being shot in the head, and they remember vividly the last movements that he made with his body unwillingly because of a gunshot to his head. The violent, cowardly thug Julius Jones, who deserves to die, threw Paul Howell's body out of the vehicle. Him and his thug companion sped off in this vehicle that was not worth no more than $4,000 used. It's a used vehicle. It's like a Suburban. And they crushed his legs. That's Paul Howell and his death. This is who Julius Jones is. He was a violent career criminal, unapologetic for the crimes that he's committed. And he has been continuously tormenting Paul Howell's family, sending letters demanding that they recant the things that they said about him, change their testimony. That is who Julius Jones is. The pathetic coward who can't take any sort of responsibility or ownership for his actions that have been proven in the court of law multiple times. There have been a lot of lies spread by the disgusting pedophiles in Hollywood regarding Julius Jones and his horrific actions against his innocent family. Viola Davis, she made this docuseries and she narrates it. I don't know who else was responsible for the making of this blatant, disgusting propaganda. But, they paint the town as racist. It's like, oh, well, the town's racist. Like, that has anything to do with this. And then over here, I have it pulled up on this website, justiceforjuliusjones.com. And it says, despite maintaining his innocence and compelling evidence that he was wrongfully convicted, no, there's zero compelling evidence, and he was rightfully convicted. Mr. Jones' co-defendant fit an eyewitness's description of the shooter, while Mr. Jones did not. This is actually blatantly false. They are deliberately misrepresenting the testimony of the primary witness, which is Paul Howell's sister. His co-defendant was the state's key witness against him, and the prosecution repeatedly told jurors that Mr. Jones' trial that his co-defendant would serve a 30-year sentence in exchange for his testimony. However, after pleading guilty to the crime, Mr. Jones' co-defendant was released after only 15 years and is now a free man. In a case riddled with odious racial discrimination, zero evidence to suggest otherwise, including a police officer's use of a racial slur during Mr. Jones' arrest. Okay, that's irrelevant, and even if it is true, which I doubt it is, and the state's removal of all prospective black jurors except one, evidence shows that a juror used the N-word before jury deliberations at the sentencing phase. Don't care if that's true or not. The U.S. Supreme Court has made unequivocally clear that our criminal justice system cannot tolerate such blatant examples of racial prejudice on the part of even a single juror. In this way and many others, Mr. Jones' rights under the state and federal constitution have been violated, and his conviction and death should be overturned. No, I'm sorry. This is bullshit. The charges of racism here, I don't care. if these people said those things. And also the little jab that certain jurors were allowed on the jury within the jury pool, and others were removed because it's insinuating that they were removed because of the color of their skin. Cite your source. What is the evidence for this? Also, is Viola Davis and her people and all these creeps in Hollywood, are they trying to suggest that because you were a white juror, you were incapable of being impartial and analyzing basic facts about the law and about the nature of these specific violent crimes pertaining to cases like this? Is that what you're trying to suggest? Is that what they're trying to suggest? I'm not sure. I'm not a mind reader. I don't pretend to be one. But this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they're trying desperately to paint everybody involved in this process as racist. The Howell family, racist. The people in that community, racist. The cops, racist. The judicial system, systemically racist. So therefore, he must go. And it wasn't him that did it. It was the other person. But still, racism. It's got to be racism. Unbelievable. Tiring. I am exhausted. But this is what we have to deal with in America in 2021. And I made this claim before, and I have to say it again. People need to understand that this is what is literally happening right now in our country. There are very powerful, vile, disgusting organizations that are anti-Western, anti-white, that want to displace and replace white Americans, people of European heritage, and they want to paint them in the most negative light imaginable, despite all the scientific evidence, all the criminal data suggesting that this is likely the group that is least likely to victimize you. They're doing this because they got to build a narrative. They got to manufacture this narrative that people like Julius Jones are innocent. They didn't do nothing. They can never do no wrong. So they got to get this. They got to secure this win at all costs. Paul Howell's family be damned. That's why they're doing it. They got to shatter the narrative. They got to completely undo what the scientific data suggests. Who commits the disproportionate amount of crime in the U.S.? Who are the most violent offenders? What groups are those? We have that information. We know who they are. It's not a secret. The only people denying it are people like Destiny and Hassan Piker and all these other leftist fruitcakes that never worked in law enforcement, that never worked for the government, that don't know a fucking thing about the real world. These people are fucking losers. Viola Davis is a fucking loser. And I'm just sick and fucking tired of this shit. You got other people like Kyle Cooper, the Chino Hills Massacre guy. They're trying to get him out of prison. He murdered an entire family. It was objectively him. It's not in dispute. But people like the Kardashian whores will come out, and they're going to petition for this guy to be released. Because Kyle Cooper and Julius Jones and other people like them, they look one way. And their victims, they're all white. Centoya Brown, her victim was white. They did the same thing. They ran the same campaign. She committed those crimes. She killed that man. She shot him when he was asleep. She lied repeatedly to the court during the trial. These people are fucking liars. And people try to tell me, it's like, oh, well, she's based and red-pilled now. She's pro-Trump. I don't give a fuck what she is. This is why this is happening, though. They have to manufacture the narrative. You have to understand this. This is story building. Once upon a time, people like Julius Jones, peaceful, literally doing nothing, just living their lives. And then evil people like Paul Howell and his family made Julius Jones' life miserable. And then along the way, Paul Howell gets victimized, and they blame it on Julius Jones because of the color of his skin and no other reason. And we can prove this because he was given clemency, and and they commuted his sentence. They let him go because the governor cucked. I pray that the governor of Oklahoma does not cave in to the special interests in Hollywood. I hope they did not cave in to the professional activists that are trying to petition the government to release a objectively violent criminal. So at the beginning of this video, I asked for a favor. I need you to do two things for me. Because you're probably wondering, what can we do to push back against the propaganda from the pedophiles in Hollywood? What can we do to push back against this disgusting propaganda that is also being perpetrated by these professional activists? And what can we do to protect people like Paul Howell's family? We can't protect Paul Howell because he's gone. He's no longer with us. He was shot in the head in front of his kids, his body discarded on the ground and crushed by his own vehicle. But his family, his babies are still out there. They're about like a month or two younger than me. And, we can do something for them. And this is what we can do. You need to cancel your Netflix. You need to cancel your Hulus, your HBO Go's, your Amazon Primes, your Disney Pluses, all of it. Stop giving the pedophiles your fucking money. Is a Marvel movie worth it? Is the next comic book shit worth it? I'm being honest. Is any of that worth it? I don't give these people my money. At all. I'm a thief. If there's something I really want to watch, I'm going to pirate that shit. Because I know if my money goes into their hands, they're going to use that money to create propaganda to hurt people like Paul Howell's family. I've seen it with my own eyes. And we're all seeing it now. And people need to be awake to this shit. I'm being serious. And I'm just so fucking sick of the excuses people make. It's like, oh, well, it's so convenient. Oh, well, my family uses it. And, we all share the fucking password or whatever. Really? Because your money is literally going into the hands of people that are torturing this family. I don't get too emotional talking about shit like this. But, when I heard David Dorn's family on TV talk about watching David Dorn get ruthlessly murdered on Facebook Live. Everybody saw it. And you get these assholes like Viola Davis and Dave Chappelle crying about Black lives being murdered. Not once did Dave Chappelle talk about David Dorn in his bullshit special last year. Where's Viola's documentary about the honorable life that David Dorn led? Sequoia Turner, the tiny black child, ruthlessly murdered by a violent Black Lives Matter activist. She was a black kid. Shot at. That got me emotional. And I was recently watching an actual Justice Warrior video. Sorry, I don't have any water. Throat is parched. But anyways, I was watching an actual Justice Warrior video and he choked up. And I choked up. And a lot of this might have to do with guilt. Because I used to work for the kind of people that are doing this to Paul Howell. I was used as an instrument for evil. I wanted to work in Hollywood. And you know what drives me crazy? It's like I've been out there, I partied with him, and I was this close. Because I was trying to, I wrote multiple movies. I have them over here in a box. These full, complete screenplays, fully edited, everything. Ready to rock and roll. And I remember just being at peace, being with these people. Because I felt like an outsider my whole life. And I was finally in a place where I feel like I wouldn't be judged. That I was with like a bunch of other just like out there people, like I related to them. And I feel sick and guilty because I had so much in common with them that it's possible that I might have had a role in doing the kind of things that have been done to this family. I feel guilty. And then I was watching this actual Justice Warrior video and I got choked up. Because I'm just sick and tired of this shit. And it's just so disappointing. Even fuck the left. People who are sympathetic towards my views are finding every excuse to continue to feed these people money. make them richer, make them more powerful. Your indifference, your vote with your wallet can end them. I'm just sick and tired of it, man. The end of that actual Justice Warrior video, he played a clip from the daughter who witnessed her father get shot by Julius Jones. And she was in the hospital, she was holding his hand, and she was praying. She said, God, please give me a sign that you've received my father and that he's with you. Later on, she really liked Beanie Babies. And so did I, by the way. The 90s were a fun time. She liked Beanie Babies a lot. Mr. Paul Howell always went out of his way to get her, whatever Beanie Baby she wanted. And then, Grandma, she ends up buying her a Beanie Baby. It was a walrus named Paul. And it had Paul Howell's birthday. That was the sign. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Here's the second thing I'm going to need you to do. I need you to contact the governor in Oklahoma and let him know that you stand with Paul Howell's family and that you are absolutely disgusted by the ongoing activities in Hollywood and their efforts to overturn a rightful conviction of a violent criminal who absolutely committed this crime, who murdered Paul Howell with no regard for his family or anybody else. Stop giving these people money, man. Give up consumerism. Give up Hollywood. Just give it all up. None of it is worth it. I gave up my dreams of wanting to be a movie maker. Not like I really had a choice anyways, because I have the wrong opinions, because I voted for the Orange Man, and I'm going to fucking do it again.